All right, welcome back to Biashara Tuesday, Kenyatta University Television Station. And also here we have Kenyatta University Library Services. I think it's important that we mention we are both coming from the same institution, right? So as we are going to have this conversation on the digitization of library services, they have a lot of things that are up there for you. So we're going to have a brief or a detailed rundown of all of these things. The 21st century, of course, information management centers are relying heavily on ICT to acquire, process, and avail information to everyone. So Kenyatta University Library has now adopted cutting-edge technology, which I'm seeing here, to satisfy everyone who, irrespective of distance and time, can be able to access most of these resources. So I'm having a conversation with the people who are responsible for this digitization, this cutting-edge technology that is being infused within all the resources that are there in this library. So we're getting into that conversation. If you have any question, especially wale watu ambao wanataka access some of these resources, the journals and all of that, do send that on social media, research papers, all of that material, resources, educational material that you'd like to access. This is the time to listen in keenly on how you can do that. But first, before I get into that rabbit hole, let's have a brief introduction of the gentleman I have with me here in studio. And I think I'll begin with you, sir. Maybe tell us your role over at the Kenyatta University Library and also your name as well.
My name is David Mutiso. I'm an electronic resources librarian. I mainly deal with online platform, but that does not limit me in dealing with other functions of the library. Mainly, the library deals with both the print and the electronic media. But now, due to changes in and advances in technology, and the fact that we have been having challenges of COVID, there's a move towards online access of information, both within the university and outside the university. So the library have acquired softwares to enable this, to facilitate this. And on daily basis, we are always training our users, the user population of Kenyatta University, on how to access information that is seated within the library, but also overseas. We call it offshore libraries. It's accessible.
Okay, that is David. And next to David here, also from the Kenyatta University Library, are you also on the technology side?
I am Samuel Modami, a librarian in charge of research and special collections. Some of the special collections relate to the digital as well as the print. So that's my role.
When you say special collections, what is special with these collections?
Like those online resources, as well as the resources generated within Kenyatta University, like this. So all those resources plus what we used to call the Africana. Resources about Africa, written by African or about Africa. So all those resources and publications done by KU staff and students, they are within us. And primarily I handle postgraduate students and staff of Kenyatta University. All
right. Let me maybe begin again from you as we go back. They call it the Postmodern Library. What is the postmodern in the library been? Is it past the modern? What kind of technology maybe or resources make it called as the famous Postmodern Library of Kenyatta University?
I think, and why we are here today is to showcase what the library can offer to its patrons. And the Postmodern Library has provided the resources ahead of time. Some of the libraries have been using manual systems, but the Postmodern Library has been offering services that probably in this part of the world, they could only be found outside Africa, or in South Africa and maybe the Northern African countries.
All right. Of course, offering that ahead of time. Now, back to you, sir. Maybe, why is it important that we move from what you said, offering manual access to all of these resources and taking them online? How would you say that is important for us at the moment, and the university in general as well?
Okay. Due to increase of student population, and the fact that universities cannot accommodate all the students in the programs like it used to be, there have been a demand to virtualize all the services of the library to an extent that one can get information when you are seated at home. And that's where the idea of postmodern was conceived, to the extent that the user gets the information at its location without necessarily visiting the library. In addition, the idea of automating all the functions of the library to an extent that we would say we are a paperless institution, because all the information is available whether you are within the university or outside the university. If you go to most universities abroad, you'll find that they have more students off campus than we have in developing countries. And now we are almost coming to that. And this has been propelled by the COVID-19 pandemic. Right. It has necessitated this. It has been a driver to this. So the library makes full use of online platforms to give information to its users. Okay. Even this afternoon, we have an online program for School of Continuing Education programs. And we are talking to these students on how to access information right from their home. And you find somebody even talking to somebody, or even accessing information when you are traveling, or when you are in your bedroom, and you are able to use all the online platforms to reach them, to chat with them, because we also have chat platforms. But most of all, the information that we have subscribed to, we use an online platform to authenticate them, because if it is left in the open domain, everybody would be able to access, and it is commercial in nature, to the extent that the publisher would only want the information to be accessed by the subscriber. So through use of online platforms, we have one very good platform which is sourced from India, called Remote XS, which has brought together over 80 plus online databases with full text information, cutting across all the programs of a university. And that is accessible to both staff and the students of the university. All
right. So maybe now we'll get into all of these technologies and the platforms that you have had, and I'll maybe take it back to you, sir, in these systems. Let's start with the library website. What can we find in the library website in general, and what kind of updates do you do there? Can we get the special collections as well on the website, and when was this started?
The library website is anchored on the library information management system, and it captures the details of the library for the sake of our users and all the users in the university and outside. And just like any institutional website, it gives the details to the clients that they can get all the information they need regarding the library. But more importantly, I said it is anchored on the library information management system called KOHA.
Okay.
So
KOHA is where the maktaba.ke.
Yeah. So that's where it is anchored. And the library information management system is the core that carries so many other things, including the laptop registration. Because initially we used to have challenges of students losing laptops in the library because there was no way of tracking.
Right. I remember that time getting out of the Kenyatta University Library, you had to first get in and write your serial number by hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now your laptop and yourself, they are linked within KOHA, the Library Information Management System.
Right.
But KOHA is bigger than that. It is available in modules, and it's an open source software, meaning that you only need to install and customize. Yes, there's no other costs apart from maybe upgrades if there are other upgrades. And the modules, they help us now to run both our staff interface as well as the users.
All right.
Online. So when we get a new book, we enter the details of the book. When we get new users, we register them and we pull the data from admissions because they are admitted through the ICT systems, and you can pull that data and because we are integrated.
Nice.
Now, the way we manage our users, when one is borrowing, it is automated. The student's card is smart. So all that is done in KOHA. So the student management, the cataloging, the putting of the details of the materials into the system. So that you link the users and the materials.
This comes really handy now that the student's card was also made smart.
Yes.
I think 2 or 3 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this becomes very critical. And then the way the system is calibrated, anytime you borrow a material, another student cannot borrow using your card because you'll instantly get an alert, an email alert.
That someone is trying to use your card.
Yes, right. So that you come immediately, and we can use the other technologies like the CCTVs to know who was this using another person's card.
Yeah.
And you can zero in on the image.
We reduce those chances of where students came to clear and then anambiwa, hey, you have 5 books.
Exactly.
All right.
Yes.
Now, sir, if I can get back to you, journals. The mortality rate and the limited accessibility of Kenyatta University journals, how is there a system in this process of making things virtual and digital? Is there a system for accessing some of these journals, and how many? How wide is the resource?
To start with, usually we have 2 modes of access of journals. We have the commercial and open source. And it has been very difficult for most researchers to publish, mostly in commercial journals, because they are very expensive. And so we have the open access system, or mode of access of information, which is actually a movement, a global movement. And it has come up with a publishing platform called Open Journals System. It's one of them. There are over 25,000 journals within that system at global level. And so the advantage of OJS, which was brought on board by Kenyatta University through the library initiative, was to fill in the gap which is left by commercial publishers, so that we can help upcoming researchers in sharing their research information to the world. The way OGS operates is that it is a platform for publishing. It is to the extent that an author can upload his work, which goes now to the editorial manager, of course with a group of editors, to go through the work, to take it through a process called peer review. For instance, in the KU, we have 5 journals already.
Right. And these are from different schools. Yeah.
And these journals are managed by faculty from these schools. Of course, the library comes in handy in managing the platform and assist them, giving them a technical backup. And usually what happens is that the authors usually submit through an editorial manager. They submit their manuscripts, then the manuscripts are taken through a peer review process by the editors. And then if they find them suitable for publishing or possibly for editing it again. It is the manuscript is taken back to the author to do changes, and then finally, when it's accepted to be shared with the scholarly community, it is published and hosted online. And so that has helped our students and faculty so much.
To get access
to publish.
Oh, okay. To publish.
For publish. Reason being that from 2017, the Commission for University Education made it mandatory for postgraduate students to publish articles before they graduate. Those ones who are undertaking master's program, they have to publish one article in a peer-reviewed journal, and those ones who are doing their PhD, 2 articles in a peer-reviewed journal. And so it has been difficult for them to do that. In addition, it takes quite a long time to be published in the commercial publishers, or the so-called high-impact journals. It can take even up to a year if you are lucky to be published.
If you're lucky enough.
Yes. So
for them to even take a look at it.
OJS has come to fill in that gap, and they are doing very well. Students and staff are uploading manuscripts, and we are hoping that as it becomes popular, we'll get other authors across the region to also, because it's not for Kenyatta University, other authors across the region to also publish.
All right. Now,
so that you can get a wider readership.
Right. So this is open to anyone who's even outside Kenyatta University.
Yes.
A peer-reviewed journal that they can access.
Yes.
Right. So how do they access it remotely? Because I'm sure it's something that, of course, they can do. How do you access it? What do you require for you to maybe submit here and also publish if you're not part of this Kenyatta University community? I don't know if you want to pick it up.
If I can weigh in on the matter. Actually, there's a word you said. Some of the print journals that used to be done locally, there was high mortality rate.
Yes.
You publish maybe 3 issues, then you go under.
It's done.
So this filled the gap. And apart from that, it created visibility, both for those doing the papers and for the institution.
All right.
Now, the access issue, the platform David mentioned, is about open journal system. The open word
is already obvious.
Means that these are resources that are freely accessible online. So the library just provides that platform, but the quality control is done by the relevant school. They have an editorial team for each journal because these are quality control issues. So we only get the final product and we make it available. Just like the way you are doing it here now. You are getting our content and putting it on air.
All right.
The library puts that on air. And this is an emerging role for libraries as publishing platforms. Yes, because just like we are getting journals through subscription from other publishers out there, they can also consume something from this part of the world.
All right, and now you mentioned 5 schools. I know Kenyatta University has so many other schools. Which are these 5 schools and why are they not more than 5?
Starting a journal is not very easy because of the rigorousness of the process. Because it's one thing getting the manuscripts from authors, but the rigorousness of the process for quality control is very tedious.
Intense.
Yes, because there is the first receipt of the manuscript, assessment for originality, and it has to go through plagiarism checks before you even consider the paper. There are those you trash immediately, and I know it also happens in this because this is a media. You get a lot of
applications,
a lot of contents, but only a few pass the cut.
Pass through. Right.
So through that rigorousness, you have to control the process.
And this OJS, I'm interested, since you are keen on research, how has it boosted research in that direction?
It is one of the things that we sensitize our users on, that they can also get content from the people who teach them. Because a lot of the people who publish are local.
All right. And now, this Kenyatta University journal, which system, which was created, as we've had 5 schools from Kenyatta University, 5 journals from 5 schools. So make sure that you are checking that out. I think I can say out the link, which is journals.ku.ac.ke. So I think people should be checking it out as we go on, right?
Yes, but even when you go through Maktaba, they will see them. One, there is Musigi Journal, which is under the School of Education. Then there is Chemichemi.
Chemichemi.
Humanities and Social Sciences.
Right.
We have one from SPAS.
East African Medical and Research.
Yes, that is
from SPAS.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, and there is.
And there's 2 more.
One from Fine Art.
There is one from Fine Art. So there are 5.
2 from another one from SPAS also.
Yes,
SPAS has 2 journals.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
SPAS has 2 journals.
Yes.
Also, now since you already picked it up,
yes.
There's user instructions and videos as well, training videos. How can people get those?
They are within the OJS on how to either use it, or even for the people who are running the system, how they can learn how it works. Yes.
Now there's the institutional repository.
Yes.
How different is it, and what is it about? I know it uses DSpace, which I might not be well versed in, so I think I'll let you explain more on that. Yes. And I think also how it does contribute to research. Institutional repository.
Yes. Now, there are 3 things. What we are discussing are 3 things. We are discussing the Library Management Information System, the Library MIS, which is a core, run through a software called core. Then we have got the journal platform, which is OJS, and then a database management software called DSpace. But of course, we call it institutional repository. Okay. The core function of the library is to make information accessible in all modes of access. First, to manage the information through the library management information system, and then to use OJS and DSpace to disseminate the information. Now, DSpace is actually a database management platform. The role of DSpace, or institutional repository of Kenyatta University, is to assemble knowledge that has been created by Kenyatta University community, both the staff and students. So it's a knowledge database, or KU. It archives all information, knowledge that has been generated. And that includes PhD thesis, master's thesis, undergraduate projects, books and book chapters, all that by staff and students from out there. So what happens with the the staff who are doing digitalization is that they harvest any information, that any piece of information that has been authored by somebody coming from Kenyatta University. Any information authored by somebody who is associated with the KU, and they run a program and harvesting data that is ending with a domain name .ku.ac.ke, wherever it is, whether within Kenyatta University or out there. And then it is hosted, either full text or abstract. It is hosted in the institutional repository. The institutional repository is a scholarly platform. Most universities and almost all universities across the world have institutional repositories which avail information on open access mode. And so they are freely available. You don't need to log in. You don't need to be within KU. You only need to use a search engine to discover, and depending on what you are searching on, to discover the content. So OJS, is the institutional repository actually markets or shares knowledge that has been created from Kenyatta University to the global community.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So I also know that in DSpace, in that DSpace software, is where we get the Kenya Education Research Database. Maybe you can speak about that. And I know that part of research is looking at past papers. what has been done. I know Kenyatta University students are always looking at that. Maybe I think we can finish on past papers, and then I think I'll hand over the education research database to them. Past papers, are they also open source, and can anyone, even someone who's not in KU who wants to know about all of this, get access to this?
The past papers and the repository, they run on DSpace application. Now the past papers are actually a database of past exams that have been tackled by students in Kenyatta University. It runs on DSpace. Previously, it used to run on a software called Greystone. But we found it fit to also have it run on DSpace. To access past papers, you need to log in. You need to be authenticated. And so you need to be associated with the Kenyatta University, whether a student or staff. So anybody out there cannot be able to
access that.
To access this the exam bank, because you have to log in through another platform to access. And it runs on DSpace again.
Okay. What else runs on DSpace before we move to education research database?
The institutional, the thesis and dissertation database run on DSpace. Past exam bank run on DSpace. Kenya Education Research database runs on DSpace, and then there's another database for tourism management, which also runs on DSpace.
Right. Why do you have tourism crisis management information? How is that relevant, and how is it being used?
And actually, that's an externally funded program which the library has assisted. And what they have done is that we have harvested data, mostly documents, on tourism management issues, and hosted them for the ministry concerned with the tourism, hosted them to that database, and they are available and are discoverable by anybody, even outside Kenyatta University.
All right. So this is done in conjunction with the Ministry of Tourism.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a very good project. I don't think I've had this in any other institution.
It was sponsored externally. Same with the one on education by Ministry of Education. So the KU library, KU and the KU library is just assisting in populating data on those two databases.
Right.
But the consumers are out there.
Okay.
Yes.
The Kenya Education Research Database, KERD. I think we can now get a look at that. What is there, and what levels of education research are supported in this platform?
Yes, basically, as he has said, it runs on DSpace. It's just like an offshoot of the institutional repository, but this is specialized because it is dealing with the basic education. Okay. The basic education sector. The content that relates to that.
When you say basic education, that covers
the lower primary, the upper primary, and also secondary education.
Okay.
The contents there is specialized, and also the tourism project. The two were mooted during the COVID period, because the two sectors were very critical. Anything that happens to the tourist sector, it's like to bring the country to the knees. You know the effect that COVID had on education.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why they attracted the kind of support they got, the collaboration, just to give the information that can be useful to turn around the two sectors.
Right.
That's why they became very useful.
I love that the library took the situation, the COVID-19 situation, not so negatively. Found a way to innovate around it and come up with some of these solutions.
We were only lucky that we had the platforms to capture the information, because we only sifted what is available in tourism to turn around the sector. Anything that is relating to the tourism, and this information is very critical. What can bring flow to the tourism sector?
Right.
Because the kind of employment that is in the tourism sector is very high. Anything affecting the sector is very critical. So this is a resource that can help anybody who is interested to understand what can be done to rectify the situation.
Okay, so I know we've covered a lot on all these different systems, very good innovation, access that is access that's available remotely through the internet, smartphone, and all of that. But there are people who are living with disabilities, who might need assistive technology, whose vision is impaired, whose motion is impaired, and all of those issues and challenges. Is there a way that the library during this innovation process has handled it? And is there a platform maybe that is dedicated to helping these people who are living with disabilities also do their research and access this information?
I can confirm that the university has invested heavily on mainstreaming disability on campus. And if you walk around, you will notice that Kenyatta University has a full-fledged directorate that handles disability matters. And it trains us on how to handle these people. We have seen the Maruti shuttle that ferries those people in whatever destination.
Yeah.
Now,
can't miss it on campus.
Coming home to the library now, we have mainstreamed all that. We have a full section that handles users with disabilities. And even the technologies there, they have special computers that magnify content. If it is an A4, it is blown to A3. For low vision, they are able to read that. Now, for those who are blind, we have technologies like the NVDA that is able to convert text into audio, and they can listen.
Nice.
So our users, our staff have been trained to handle the various disability in the users who come to the section. And even the entrance, you'll find that there is a ramp
that is fully dedicated to.
Yes. So anybody who is on a wheelchair, they are able to motorize themselves into the library.
Nice.
And the communication, because we register them specifically, and our staff get the communication. They are the ones who call the Maruti, and they escort the users outside the library, and they are picked and taken to the next.
Nice. That is a very good and a very inclusive approach.
Yes.
Now, maybe if we can wrap up with a few takes on the future outlook. I start with you, Mr. Mutiso, and what do you see? How do you see the direction with this postmodern? We can get postmodern, super ultra postmodern library of Kenyatta University. What other projects are maybe coming up, and the ones that are ongoing that maybe we might not be aware of, and just generally the direction. A take from each of you on the direction these projects are going. Yeah.
Okay. First, I think we need to acknowledge that after COVID, there's no going back. And the future of education is online. Of course, our users, mostly students, are still begging for online, for face-to-face access to their lecturers and also information. But looking at how the institution is being revamped, Kenyatta University, is that information is going to be accessible online and also teaching. So the library has stepped up the process of acquiring both ebooks and e-journals. Currently, we have got over 40,000 full text books which have been integrated in the library system. We have got about 81 full text scholarly databases cutting across all the disciplines taught within the university. And so the library is making a full initiative to make sure that we give an information literacy program to all staff and students. The library again has come up with liaison librarians of all the schools, although they are being reduced. Each school as a liaison librarian. And the function of a liaison librarian is to sit with the school board when they are reviewing curriculum, when they are having academic meetings. Apart from discussing the content of the curriculum, the liaison librarian is also available to advise the faculty about what type of materials are available and also how to access them. And continuously through the library website, we have advertised information literacy programs where we teach our users on how to access information, how to do academic writing on a continuous basis. And so the library is repackaging itself to make sure that if at all, if the university went full blast on ODEL programs, we'll be able to handle all our users, irrespective of their physical distance.
Right.
Yes.
All right. That is Mr. Mutiso's take on the future outlook of Kenyatta University. We'll come to you, Samuel, now. What do you see into the future? Actually, from his description, I feel like the library should maybe be its own school now. It's getting too powerful with with how you're innovating, which is a really good way to see that just the library on its own is providing so many resources that even some like a school should be able to provide as part of the university. So maybe your take also on the future outlook.
Well, I think the library has a very critical role in a university. It is also always said to be the heart of a university. And you know, when your heart stops,
everything else stops.
You are dead.
Yes.
One thing I'll attribute to the strides that have been made is the close collaboration between the library per se and the ICT directorate. The close collaboration and the secondment of staff in the library to run the systems has made the library do the things that it has done to be a postmodern institution.
All right.
Now, David has mentioned about the training. The more innovative and the more changes happen, the more we require to train our users to access information using the new technologies. So that is one area we are going to deepen going forward. Two, I want to say that where we got OJS to run online journals so that they are accessible or freely, we want now to move on where now the library can harness the works that have been documented by the faculty members and convert them into books.
Okay.
Those kind of publications, they are called monographs.
Monographs.
And there is an open system called Open Monograph Systems. It also came from the same organization that came up with the OJS. Yes.
Right.
So it is very easy, and the experience we have had with the OJS, it will help us now. There are lecturers who have taught for several years. The notes they have been using, if they update them, we can convert them into a monograph.
Right. And the then, monographs, as they call them now.
And then you can avail that content online.
Right.
So
that is a good direction.
Yes. So that's one critical direction we want to see probably in the short term.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And that's, of course, the future, the outlook of the postmodern, going to be ultra postmodern library because of those efforts that are being done there, digitizing these resources. Remember you can access them. If you're a university student of Kenyatta University especially, make sure that you're taking advantage of all these resources being availed to you for free. Yeah, so type out, ingia pale maktaba, angalie kidogo kidogo journals so that you can be well informed on what kind of things they're working on and what you can expect into the future. Of course, we need to embrace technology as we move towards enhancing information, access to information, and utilizing some of all these softwares in ensuring that we're all getting the necessary research yenye imefanywa huko nje, information by people who are well versed in the fields which they've studied for, and of course most of them from Kenyatta University. Thank you for having that conversation with me, and I hope that people can be checking that out. I have just one question which I've seen here on Facebook, and maybe just a clarity, because we've spoken about so many things which are accessible and some which are not. Mtoto wa Mariam on Facebook anauliza, does that mean the library will be available for members of the public? I don't know how you're going to, if maybe you can answer him there.
The answer is no. We have, for example, the institutional repository is accessible to the members of the public, but the subscribed resources, one has to be authenticated. You need to have a username associating yourself with the university, and then a password which is generated by the system. And so you need to log in through the platform to be able to access the content that has been subscribed by the university.
Right.
Every year we spend about close to 15 million to subscribe to those resources for staff and the students. The way the publishers operate is that they want to be accessed only within the IP range or within the institution. But because our users are not all within the institution, we subscribe to another software which links our users to the university, which authenticates our users through the university, although they are outside,
right.
although they are outside.
Okay.
And so whether you are within the university or outside the university, you have to log in, you have to be authenticated to be able to use the resources that are available.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Felix, you want to add something on top of that? And also, is it possible to get the ICT department to come and explain to us some of these technologies and how they work?
Well, I want to emphasize what he has said. Yes, we are saying that we have liberalized access to our resources. It's only some. But like he has said, the institutional repository, that one we are reacting to a movement called open access, open science. I can access the other institutions' institutional repository. I can go to the University of Nairobi institutional repository
and get it.
Because the thesis done there, they have done either using public money or in public institutions.
Right.
So
it's good to offer it to the public.
Yes. And the importance of doing that is that I need to know what is being done in University of Nairobi, because I may be interested in doing something similar. So if I find that what I was interested to do has already been done, I have no business duplicating.
Right.
I can change tangent
or maybe build up on it
and do something else that is related.
Nice.
You see,
yeah.
So and I can access even Harvard, even Cambridge. They have their repository.
That is open access.
Yes, there is a global movement now towards putting research content out there.
Okay.
So that one we don't hinder, but anything that we have bought using KU money for purposes of staff and students of Kenyatta University, we have to create the necessary rights for the users who are here.
Great. Thank you very much, Samuel and David, for having that conversation with me. Watu wa Kenyatta University, ensure that you are checking that out. I think I'll get you guys to do a last remark, maybe. I don't know if there's people in the library who would love to be told thank you for helping the process or setting it up. The Vice Chancellor maybe. But I'll get you a last take and then we'll go for that break.
We'll, at the library level, we really appreciate the support we have gotten from Director of ICT, of course through the university management, and we're happy that we have been given a free hand to create content and make it available to the global community without so many handles. Be given that free hand, so we appreciate. And we also appreciate the fact that the university has agreed to spend so much money, financial resources, to make research information available to both staff and the students. And so we are happy that the university acknowledges the role the library plays, and they are always ready to support any request from the library if it is serving the good of the entire institution.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a last take, or is that?
Well, one, I want to appeal to our users who may be listening to the program. The library is ready to provide the resources that they need. They need to patronize our resources.
Yeah.
They just need to visit any library that is near them. We work as one network. If you go to our Mombasa campus, Kitui, or whichever,
you will get it.
Yes, the same information you get is the one you get from main campus.
Nice.
So it is very important that they patronize our services and they are guided properly. It will make them spend less. 2, I want to acknowledge and appreciate the synergy I've seen across departments in the library, because the library cannot succeed unless the people who benefit from it partake what it produces. So the Directorate of ICT, the management by availing the budget, the schools who consume our resources, and the advisors on what to procure. And going forward, we look forward to getting more.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Biashara Tuesday still on air. #Biashara Tuesday. Mtoto wa Mariam. I hope mpata jibu yako. Give me more questions. Next up is Mental Health Awareness Month. What are you doing to make yourself mentally healthy? One of those things you should be doing is engaging in outdoor activities, hiking, taking a walk, camping. You know, if you are someone who's looking towards doing that, tune in. There's a conversation happening right about now, so don't go too far.